Just a little reminder that if your focus in your faith journey is about being or becoming a good Christian, a good Catholic, that your focus is probably on the wrong place. I say this with a lot of love because that, for so long, was the way that I was approaching my faith life. On one hand, I knew that it was about my relationship with God, but I didn't know how to be in that relationship. And so I relied a lot on what I understood or what I was told about what it meant to be a good Christian, a good Catholic. And that just really messed me up because there were these standards that I felt I had to constantly measure up towards. And, subconsciously that meant that I felt that God must be assessing me all the time, right? And seeing whether I was worthy or not worthy. And it doesn't matter how much it's drilled into your head that God's love is unconditional. If the way that you're living is constantly trying to meet some kind of standard of excellence that has nothing to do with who you are, what your wounds are, the real interior state that you are in, you're going to just end up hurting yourself. Okay, it's kind of like when you're watching the Olympics and maybe you think, wow, maybe that you're watching the hurdles event and you think that's amazing, that's incredible, and I want to be able to do that. And you go out, with little or no training and try to jump hurdles, or the high jump or something. I mean, you're going to really seriously hurt yourself, right? So it's the same with the spiritual life and faith life. Sometimes looking at the lives of other people who seem to really excel at the spiritual life, at least from the outside, from our perspective, whether it's someone that we admire from afar, or whether it's, a saint whose stories have inspired us, it is very dangerous. It can be very dangerous if we wish to emulate them, and model what we see with no consideration of our own life, of where God is coming to meet us in our life, the circumstances that we are in the unique way that we are made. So I just wanted to suggest or remind you that if you're someone who really does love God or wants to love God, and maybe your relationship with your church is also important to you, know that sometimes that those two things can seem like they're intention, right? And part of the reason may be because when we look at external standards of excellence, they can seem to be very uncompromising and inorganic, all right? We are all meant to live our way slowly, step by step, and even painfully into a deeper, more mature, more intimate relationship with our God. And the church is actually what is birthed from each of our relationship with Christ. Sometimes I think we put the cart before the horse and we try to make ourselves worthy members of some kind of a community that we belong to, when really I think our focus should be on meeting Christ where we are, letting Him touch us and heal us and teach us and lead us, and not being so concerned about what that looks like on the outside at every stage of the journey, because sometimes these stages of growth can indeed be really messy. Healing is messy, growth is messy, and we cannot keep up, that picture perfect front, right, of our life in a way that other people will always approve of us. Okay, if that's our concern, because sometimes when we are focused on being a good Christian, being a good Catholic, it's going to be our concern that we look like we are good Christians and good Catholics to the people that know us. That can sometimes keep us from making the real interior journey that actually needs to be made. The actual journey of discipleship is inside, is interior, right? It begins from the interior. Sure, it flows out to our relationship with others. But this is the most important thing. Because if this interior journey is not made, however good our life may look on the outside, it's hollow, it's unstable, and sooner or later things are going to come crashing down. Right? So maybe I just want to invite you to consider in what way perhaps you may have leaned a little more towards wanting to look and be approved of as a good Christian, a good Catholic, and whether that is actually taking you away from the space that you need to be in to actually make the real, authentic journey of integration and journeying into wholeness.